The letter that arrived 20 years late. The letter arrived on a cold October morning. Ethan Miller found it inside his old mailbox, folded between two bills and a newspaper he no longer read. At first, he almost ignored it. The envelope was yellow, weak at the corners, and covered with dust, as if it had traveled through time instead of the postal system. There was no return address, only his name, Ethan Miller, written in handwriting he had not seen for 20 years. For a few seconds, he simply stood there beside the mailbox, staring at the envelope in silence. The road was empty. The trees around his small countryside home were losing their leaves. Somewhere far away, a dog barked once, and then everything became quiet again. Ethan turned the envelope over. On the back, faded ink showed a date. October 17th, 20 years ago. His fingers tightened, because suddenly he knew who had written it. Clara. The name rose inside him, like a memory he had spent half his life trying to bury. Clara Bennett. The girl who used to sit with him near the old train tracks. The girl who believed he would become a writer one day. The girl who waited for him on the platform the night he never came. Ethan carried the letter inside his house. He did not open it immediately. He placed it on the kitchen table, made a cup of coffee, and sat across from it as if the envelope were a person sitting in front of him. For 20 years, Ethan had told himself the same story. He had told himself Clara left because she wanted a bigger life. He had told himself she got tired of their small town. He had told himself she never really loved him enough to stay, and perhaps the most painful lie of all. He had told himself that he had no choice. But the letter on the table made all those lies feel weak. Ethan reached for it. His hands were not old, but in that moment, they trembled like they belonged to someone much older. He opened the envelope carefully. Inside was one page, only one. The paper was thin and the ink had faded, but the words were still clear. Ethan, I waited at the station until midnight. I thought you would come. I thought maybe you were late. Then I thought maybe you were scared. And finally, I thought maybe you had changed your mind. Ethan stopped reading. His breath caught in his chest. He leaned back in the chair and closed his eyes. That night returned to him, not as a memory, as a wound. He was 23 then, young, proud, and terrified of becoming nobody. Clara had received an offer to work in the city. She had asked Ethan to come with her, not because she needed him to, but because she wanted to build a life with him. They had planned everything. 2 tickets, 1 suitcase each, a small apartment they had never seen, a future neither of them could afford, but both of them believed in. Ethan remembered standing in his bedroom that evening with his suitcase open on the bed. His shirts were folded, his notebook was packed. The ticket was in his coat pocket, but then his father walked in. His father was a hard man, a quiet man, a man who believed dreams were dangerous things. He looked at the suitcase and said only one sentence: "If you leave, don't come back." Ethan had laughed at first, thinking it was anger, but his father did not blink. The house became silent, and suddenly, Ethan was not a man chasing a future. He was a boy again, afraid of disappointing the one person whose approval he had chased his entire life. So he stayed. He told himself he would explain to Clara the next day. He told himself she would understand. He told himself love could wait, but love does not always wait. Sometimes it stands on a train platform until midnight, and then it leaves. Ethan opened his eyes and continued reading. I am not angry. Maybe I should be, but I am not. I just wish you had come and told me the truth. Even if you were afraid, even if you had changed your mind, even if you did not love me enough to leave, a goodbye would have hurt less than silence." Ethan covered his mouth with his hand. He had imagined many things over the years. He imagined Clara angry. He imagined Clara proud. He imagined Clara forgetting him quickly. But he had never imagined this, that she had waited, that she had needed only the truth, and he had given her nothing. He read on. "I am leaving in the morning. If you still want this life, meet me at the station before the 7:10 train. If you do not come, I will understand. But Ethan, promise me one thing. Do not spend your life choosing fear and calling it responsibility." The room became still. Even the clock on the wall seemed too loud. Ethan looked at the date again. 20 years. For 20 years, this letter had been lost somewhere. In a forgotten mailbag. In a broken office drawer. In the mistake of a stranger who would never know what he had changed. Or maybe the letter had arrived exactly when it was meant to. Not in time to save the love, but in time to reveal the truth. Ethan stood up and walked to the small room at the end of the hallway. The room was almost empty now. His father had died 8 years earlier. The house had become quiet after that. Too quiet. Ethan had never married. He had never moved to the city. He had never published the book Clara believed he would write. He had spent years doing what everyone expected. Fixing the house, working at the hardware store, taking care of his father, being responsible, being safe, being respected by people who never asked if he was happy. On the shelf sat an old wooden box. Inside were things he never touched. A train ticket from 20 years ago. A notebook filled with half-written pages, and a photograph of Clara standing beside the tracks, laughing at something he had said. Ethan picked up the photograph. She looked young, hopeful, alive with certainty, as if the world was still open, as if the future had not yet closed its doors. For a long time, Ethan stood there holding the picture. Then he did something he had not done in years. He opened the notebook. The first page was blank. He remembered what Clara used to tell him. Write the truth first. The story can come later. So Ethan sat at the desk. And for the first time in 20 years, he wrote. He wrote about the station. He wrote about fear. He wrote about a letter that arrived too late. He wrote about a man who thought silence would protect him, only to learn that silence can destroy everything. Hours passed. The afternoon faded into evening. When Ethan finally stopped writing, there were tears on the page. But there was also something else. Relief. The next morning, Ethan drove into town. The old train station was still there, though fewer trains stopped now. The paint was peeling. The benches were worn. The platform was almost empty. Ethan stood in the exact place where Clara must have waited. He imagined her there with one suitcase by her side, searching the road every few minutes, hoping to see him running toward her. He imagined her checking the clock, waiting, hoping, understanding, leaving. Ethan took the old letter from his coat pocket. He did not tear it. He did not throw it away. He folded it carefully and placed it inside his notebook. Then he bought a ticket. Not because Clara was waiting somewhere. Not because the past could be fixed. It could not. Some doors close forever. Some trains do not return. Some apologies arrive at empty stations. But Ethan had finally understood something. The tragedy was not only that he lost Clara. The tragedy was that after losing her, he stopped living. One missed train had become his whole life. One night of fear had turned into 20 years of regret. As the train arrived, Ethan looked back at the town he had never left. For years, he had believed staying was loyalty. Now he wondered if it had only been fear wearing a respectable name. He stepped onto the train with one suitcase and one notebook. This time, no one was waiting for him. No one was asking him to come. No one was promising him a perfect future. But for the first time in 20 years, Ethan was moving. Weeks later, a small book appeared in a quiet bookstore window. The title was simple: The Letter That Arrived Too Late. It did not become famous overnight. It did not make Ethan rich. But every person who read it remembered one line, a line Ethan had written at the very end. Do not wait until life gives you permission to live. Because sometimes the thing we lose is not a person. Sometimes we lose the version of ourselves that had the courage to choose. And sometimes, years later, life sends us one final letter, not to change the past, but to ask if we are finally ready to stop living inside it.